Okay, well, I am going to talk about consciously creating your reality. So first of all, what does that even mean? Does it mean that everything will always be exactly the way you want it to be? No, because we can only consciously create our own realities. We cannot make someone else think the way we want them to think, even if we see or understand what they are creating. And from my experience, trying to get someone to that place of understanding is very challenging. In fact, in most cases, be prepared to fail unless that person specifically comes to you and asks for your help. So Sister Dansha, as a Reiki healer, is probably going to have a much higher success rate in this area than you or me, because she is a respected healer. And most people, or at least a high percentage of people, correct me if I'm wrong, sister, of the people who come to you are open to your wisdom, advice, and treatment. So they don't have that barrier. And as we know, oh, go ahead.
Yes, you are right. Because they already know where they come. They are fully open to my advices and to the work I do.
Yes. So as you know, our daughter Shana was diagnosed with breast cancer 2 years ago, which is not by any means a death sentence, as many women go on to live long, full lives after that. But due to problems in Shana's marriage, it affected both her mind, her thoughts, and her heart, her emotions. These are two of the main components in consciously creating our realities. Although most people are not conscious of what they are creating with their thoughts and emotions. Such was the case with Shana. She believed what her doctors told her about the seriousness of her situation, which created a fear that affected both her heart and her mind. And that fear grew as the cancer progressed, and it became this vicious cycle. The fear fed the cancer, which confirmed the fear. So she ended up creating what she feared the most, her body being consumed by cancer and dying a most painful death. And there was nothing I could say or do to get her to change her thinking. And believe me, I tried. As you think, so you become. So pay attention to your thoughts, because every thought you have is creating something. Do you say or think things like, oh, I'm worried about such and such? Because if you're worried, it tends to have a greater weight since it's attached to an emotion. The more worried you are, the more it stays in your mind. So it just goes around and around in your mind, which means that is where your focus is. That's how people end up creating what they don't want. I love the story of Yeshua and Yochanan when they were teenagers staying in the community of Qumran, still discovering who they were and what their purposes in life were. And Yochanan was lamenting how barren it was at that time of year when it was so green after the spring rains. As Yeshua envisioned it in his mind, it coalesced all the energies needed to make it happen, and it started to rain. And then as he walked, plants of all kinds sprouted up in his footsteps. And as Yeshua said in chapter 52 of Vivas, verse 41, as children of light, you are blessed to learn the secrets and mysteries of heaven. Anything you have seen or heard that I have done, you also can do, and much more than that, as you learn and understand the laws of all creation given by Elohim. With that in mind, if Yeshua could make his visions come to life, so can we, albeit at a much slower pace. It's not going to be instant. It may take us years to manifest what we envision that Yeshua could manifest instantly, because he is much, much further down the path of progression than we are. But he is the template of Elohim and the example of what we are capable of. If you are aware or conscious of how your thoughts are like magnets that draw to you universal energies to create what's in your mind, you can use that knowledge and awareness to attract the energies into your life to create the reality you desire. So what are the steps to consciously create your reality? It begins with setting goals and doing your daily practice. In this case, you don't need to know how you're going to get from point A to point B. You just need to envision what you want, as Brother Reggie spoke about last week in his talk about creative visualization, and then pay attention to what comes your way. So often, I know it's been true in our case that on many occasions when we were desiring something to happen in particular, and even spend a lot of time visualizing what we wanted to happen, opportunities would come our way to help bring them to fruition, but we didn't recognize them as such because we weren't paying attention. So they just passed us on by. We spend so much of our time looking at things like this instead of looking at things like this around us. As the saying goes, we can't see the forest for the trees because we're just too focused on everything right in front of us. That's why, as part of your daily practice, doing the contemplative movements is so helpful, because it helps us to be more sensitive and conscious of the energies around us, understanding exactly what those energies are, so we can either use them to our advantage or avoid them. The contemplative movements are also excellent stretching exercises, which helps the energies in our bodies flow better, particularly the brain, which is a very important aspect of consciously creating our realities, as it requires a focused mind. The most important aspect of creating our realities the way we desire them to be is to daily pray to Elohim, to ensure that what we are desiring to create is for our highest good. Ask to always be guided to live your life in the flow, so what you desire comes to you with ease and grace, because you are living your life in the light. The next element that is important is calling upon specific angels to help you until you have progressed to the point that you no longer need their help because you can do it yourself. But until then, you need to look at your goals. What is the reality you are desiring to create? Go through the angel book and pick out the angels that you feel can help you create what you desire to create, and call upon them. Next, get out your words of power book. Find all the words of power that you feel will help you manifest that which you desire. The more you practice using words of power to intentionally summon universal energies, the more empowered you become. And the more power you have, the easier it is for you to create that which you desire to create. It's part of the template of Elohim. So the 4 steps to consciously create your reality are: daily, pray to Elohim, do the contemplative movements, call upon specific angels, and use words of power. It's like creating a spell or enchantment, but you're creating your life the way you would like it to be. And if you want to take it a step further, you can add tools of power like crystals and magic minerals to help you create. And that's what we talk about in our preset meetings that we will continue to explore further. Understanding how to consciously create your reality depends on one crucial action, though. You have to do it. Just knowing how to do it is useless unless you take the actions to manifest that which you know. And as you do this, you will be amazed at the life you will create. I testify to you the truth of these things as I've experienced them and know them to be true, and as we are taught by Yeshua and the oracles of Celestine Light. So be it.
So be it.
Okay.
Sister Sumara, I just started doing the contemplative movements last week, but I can't do it outside because, of course, I live in this apartment. And am I still benefiting from it?
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. If you can go to a window where you're getting the
yeah, I go
sunlight.
to a window where I get light like this one, and that's where I do it at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I was concerned about that. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's ideal to be able to do it outside at sunrise. But, you know, it's not always possible, especially if you live in a city.
Or the snow.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
brother,
I worked that out. I
to
brought a
move
towel.
forward with that.
But anyway,
But yeah, I was remembering with the last part of what you talked about, how knowing what to do doesn't mean anything unless you actually do it. It reminds me of one of my favorite quotes that goes along the line, says, the person who knows how to read but doesn't has no advantage over the person who doesn't know how to read.
Yeah.